This world is not our own. It may look the same for the most part, but things are different here. Myth is history, not legend. Welcome to a Rendezvous with Destiny, a Sky On actual play podcast. Forever, I am your GM, Luce, and with me today I have...
Hi, I'm Graham. I play Elspeth Lockwood, the Guardian of Balder. Elspeth has realised that she is in a divine library, and she's definitely going to at least make a hold, if not take out some books. My name is Elspeth Lockwood, and I have borrowed your copy of... does it have an ISBN number? I assume it does not.
Hi, I'm Will. I play Cleo Brewer, who is a chosen of Bast. Sorry. Is there anyone who looks like they are available but wants to fight?
You just wipe this guy out completely. As soon as you clasp hands, you slam his hand into the table.
If there's anyone watching this, I want to just do the Predator handshake with them.
Hi, I'm Am, and I play Flora Watson, daughter of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. I have a backup plan if we can't figure out what the trap does.
I feel like Flora's plan is just to throw something down the corridor and see what happens.
I was actually gonna just run through it really fast and activate it. I'm very fast, I'll be fine.
All you can see is he is face down on the desk and just sort of making a low groaning noise.
You alright there, Mr. Hades?
No. They have jumped upon Ra's barge and headed through an archway into the underworld. Oh, I haven't properly introduced myself, have I? I'm Loki. Nice to meet you.
A Rendezvous with Destiny is available on Spotify, Acast, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you find your podcasts. Come follow us on Twitter and Instagram at RWD_pod.
Welcome one and all to Merely Role Players, where theatrical people play role-playing games. My name's Matt Boothman. I am your compere for this Backstage episode from our main house production. I'm joined backstage by Vikki.
Hello.
By Chris.
Hello.
And by subject of today's Backstage character creation episode, welcome Helen.
Hi.
How are you feeling about this, Helen?
Very nervous. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Is it because it's the first time you've made a character on this that's not you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, that'll be it. I'm not much of a performer. I'm not much of an improviser. I don't know what I'm doing here. I've got some stuff written down, so we'll see how we go.
Cool. Well, as long as you're having some measure of fun,
yeah,
then it's all good. So tell us which playbook you picked and what made you pick that one.
Right, okay, so I'm the constructed, and I had a bit of a strange journey with it where it wasn't what I originally was drawn to at all, and then when I sort of got my allocation, I went, oh no, and really retreated from all of the others I'd looked at before, and then just looked at the constructed and thought about the idea of Frankenstein's creature and how there's a lot that you can do with that idea if it's a female form rather than a male form and if it's in a more modern era.
Okay.
So I'm not saying it's going to be all political all the time. I just think there's some interesting stuff that you could have in the back of a character's mind.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is one of the extended playbooks for Monster of the Week. It's not in the main book, but it has been endorsed by the creator. So this is an extra playbook written by Reed Sanfilippo. sort of explicit. It's interesting. I find the way it's designed interesting because it's sort of explicitly inspired by Frankenstein's creature, but also a lot of the options in it are a lot more, bring to mind a lot more like the original Pygmalion myth with like bringing the statue to life and that kind of stuff. So I'm interested to see what decisions you want to make and where we end up going with it.
Yeah.
Is Frankenstein's creature the main one that you're drawing on here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the touchstone.
Absolutely
Then there's a bit of sort of Tim Burton stuff rolling around in there. So in Nightmare Before Christmas, you've got Sally, who's physically built, but then the corpse bride in that film, she's much more temperamentally interesting, I think. And so that's sort of rolling around with me a bit as well.
That's cool. I know Nightmare Before Christmas. I've not seen Corpse Bride, so
yeah.
Oh, recommended watch, Matt. Pretty good.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's good fun.
All right. Okay. Given me homework. This is all good. So these playbooks always ambitiously suggest starting with a name. Do you have a name in mind, or is that something you'd like to discover?
I've got a name.
Okay. What was the name?
So the name is Melody Bantham.
Cool.
I think the surname's from nowhere. The first name will make more sense when we get through some more of the development stuff.
So going through in playbook order. So the first thing you get is your, after a name, is your look. So it's got some options for shape rather than gender presentation, as most of the other ones have, for like the material that your body is made of, and then what you're dressed in. So what do you like from those lists?
So woman shaped.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the constructed is so interesting. There's so many things that you could do with the constructed, particularly to do with presentation, that I don't have the experience, the skills to go into. But so I'm sticking with woman shaped because that's the direction I'm taking with it.
Okay.
Just your bog standard flesh body, not plasticine or anything like that.
All right.
Casually dressed in casual wear of the present day, of the time we're set in.
Okay, so like a potentially inconspicuous constructed.
Yeah, so Melody has a shop, she has a job, she's part of the community. Would you like me to explain how she disguises her weirdness?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's two things. One, her business is like this hipster shop. So it's like a coffee shop with records and maybe they put on poetry slams and just all of that stuff. But it's evolved from, like, there's been a cafe or something on that site going back generations, in inverted commas. It's always me. But like, oh, I'm her niece and la la la. But yeah, it's been me for centuries.
Wow, okay.
Or for however long there's been cafes. Google's history of cafes. I'll do that later. That's my homework.
Okay.
Yeah. So everybody just thinks that she's just a youngish person that's taken over from a relative again and again, but it's always just me. And whether she's been this way for hundreds of years, I haven't thought about. But Melody's now quite heavily tattooed.
Okay.
With a combination of flowers and musical notes and staves and other musical reference type things, because the tattoos can disguise or distract from scarring. So she does have the traditional like stitch marks of a created creature, and more of that will come up in a second with what one of my skills is. But she's so heavily tattooed and people are so liable to forget that no, it doesn't really stick with anybody, that maybe she looks a little bit odd.
That's really cool. So when she like sort of once a generation, when she has to make the switcheroo and sort of Melody goes away and Melody's niece comes and takes over the shop instead, does she change her appearance at all to make that work?
So I'm thinking maybe wigs.
Yeah.
But potentially you could also go sort of alternating between having all your tattoos on show for 50 years and then have 50 years where you're like long sleeved, high necked, so people can't see them. So people might believe you're a different, I think there might be a few people around that aren't that smart. I'll get away with it.
Yeah, potentially. The sort of people who frequent the hipster coffee shop.
Yeah, they're too busy looking at their own navels.
Cool. So what about your numbers, your ratings, your stats? You're definitely going to be tough +2. Constructed always gets that.
Yeah.
But what are you thinking for your other ones?
Okay, so Mr. Games Master, I would like to have weird +2.
Yep.
Sharp at 0.
Yep.
Cool at -1 and charm at -1.
Sounds good. Nice to really lean into a couple at 2, giving you some more negatives as well.
Yeah, I just really wanted that weird +2 and sacrificed everything in order to have it.
Great. Yes, that's very cool. So the default thing that you can do with your weird stat is use magic. So can Melody do magic, or is there a different way in which she's weird? Because there are other options for that.
Yeah, I suppose, I don't know whether the moves, they probably are magic, but for Melody, they don't seem magic, because for a while, she didn't know that other humans weren't how she is.
Wow, okay. That's interesting.
And then while I'm on it, basically there was her and her creator, and she thought they had a relationship based on respect, if not equality. And then there was some sort of incident where it became apparent that she wasn't just made to sort of protect and help him, but also because he's a perv. So there's an underlying mistrust.
Yeah, that would mess you up.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of politics in Frankenstein, the novel. And obviously it doesn't go into gender politics because the Frankenstein and the creature are both male presenting. But this is the sort of stuff that I thought might be interesting. But like I say, I won't have straight at the front.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, that is the sort of the next thing that we discuss on the sheet is you get to decide your animating force and also why you were created.
Yes.
So what are you thinking for those?
Okay, so my animating force is music.
That's amazing.
Thank you. So I had a good discussion with a more experienced role player who helped me flesh out the idea that analog music is more effective than digital.
Cool.
So having like a record shop, and she might buy everybody's old records and even CDs and tapes, because she never seems to sell any of those and nobody knows why, but because she likes them. And so it was Strat I was talking to, and I haven't decided if I'm going to go with this, but he likes the idea of Melody always having like a little Walkman with her.
That'd be cool.
Yes, so she might show up with that at some point.
Nice. Okay, so animating forces music, and then you're created to serve a specific function, but you no longer serve that function. So what options have you picked for those?
So the function was Guardian.
And that has knock-on effects for you in the present day, that you're better at protecting people.
Absolutely, yeah. And in terms of why I'm no longer serving that function, I'm going with that I ran away.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave some of this ambiguity with you, Matt. So Melody thinks she's free, but she's actually being looked for.
Interesting. Okay.
So she's not from this town, but she's been here a long time. So potentially, if you wanted to, there's this idea that my creator was part of a society of people trying to make life in this way or bring people back to life. So you could, if you wanted to, at some point, bring in my creator with my character having no idea that he's come back or survived in some way.
Yeah, it's been hundreds of years. You've been in one place. You think that the threat is over.
Yeah.
A small town trope I absolutely love is people who are in some kind of self-enforced witness protection, which is essentially like she's hiding in plain sight and trying to lie low in this town. Is just like a really cool, like it's so ripe for disaster occurring. It's a really cool idea, Helen.
Yeah, it's a setup with a lot of potential energy. Like you're teetering on a precipice, and there's a lot of movement that can come from it. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So it's ran away specifically because you found out that your creator was an a-hole.
Yeah. That there was a element of perversion in my creation that put our relationship in a different balance than I was comfortable with.
Yep.
And how I've decided to not have that just be too much for a role-playing game is that Melody remembers it clearly, but because I don't yet know what that is, and she just doesn't speak about it, so we don't do that.
Yeah, we can set that as a line or a veil or something along those lines. We'll work that out when we actually get to playing sessions.
Great.
So then we come to moves. You automatically get a move called Inhuman, which is an interesting one for if you've been around for a long time and blending in, but that there is still some, because this move is you have a hard time understanding the mannerisms of human behavior and emotion.
Yeah.
So there's still some sort of barrier there that's getting in the way.
Yeah. It might show itself to people that don't know that she's weird as just maybe being a bit of a try-hard.
Okay.
Like a bit intense.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about mistrust as well, so it could manifest as that sometimes as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can sort of see her like being excited if there's a person in the shop, but then if it comes to actually having to bond with people, she doesn't necessarily want to and doesn't necessarily have the tools to do so.
Oh, Melody.
Soz.
Okay, and then you get 2 other moves from the constructed move list. How are you doing with the decision there? Do you know what you want?
Yeah.
Okay, what are you taking?
Right, so I am going to take detachable body parts.
Cool.
So that's cool just in day-to-day life. So if she can just leave a hand behind to bake overnight and she doesn't have to worry. Yeah,
that is very soft and sweet, and I like it.
Yeah,
and while also being very macabre.
Yeah, she's got. Yeah, I think that's where the corpse bride comes in, because she's very sweet and full on and well-meaning, and gross. So I think that might be why she's the inspo. The other one I have chosen is awaken object.
Yay, that one's cool as well.
So I'll just read that out because that's not necessarily as obvious. By concentrating, you can share your animating force with another object within close range and treat it as an extension of yourself. And then there's various levels of success in that. So like potentially I've got my hand over here and then I've got like a broomstick over here and we've got like Tim Burton weird Disney vibes going on.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
and I like that, because if you're doing it by sharing your animating force and the animating force is music, that there is, I mean, I don't know how possible it is to do like a full-on musical number in this show, but like it sort of opens up that potential. Well,
yeah,
at least for us to describe it that way.
So Strat suggested that my singing Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo from Cinderella is a part of that, but I don't think we should pander to him necessarily. And I don't know if we want to get into a fight with Disney, but
probably not.
No.
Yeah, I mean, if you buy everybody's records, then it could just be like singing random riffs from the last 100 years.
Yeah. Yeah, if there's anything I can do, I can sing half recognisable bits of songs with no prompting.
Amazing. Can't wait to hear that happen.
Cool.
And then last thing you get to do is pick some gear. You get a big weapon and a backup weapon. What do you fancy from those lists?
So my big weapon is a sledgehammer called Bruce.
It's got a name.
He has a name, not necessarily because I animate him, but I suppose I would maybe sometimes, but because he helped me escape.
Oh.
With Smashy. So
he's a very old sledgehammer.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily that useful, and I won't necessarily but that's what I'm doing. I think maybe Melody's not really a big weapon kind of gal, so if she's got one that actually she doesn't want to use and saves for special occasions, that's fine. And a revolver, please, because I can hide that.
Yes.
I don't want to seem weapony. That's not my vibe, believe it or not.
All right. Sledgehammer called Bruce and a 38 revolver. Great.
So I've thought about fighting. That sounds mean, but what I mean is I've thought about how I'm going to approach combat in this role-playing game differently to how I've done in the past. To catch people up, how I've done that in the past is just sort of run in, smash things, think about it later.
It's worked out okay so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it. Got a nice high body count, if you like that sort of thing. But thought I'd try something different. So one of my weird questions I've got written down is, might I only kill as a last resort because I've got an admiration for human life or an admiration for life as a whole because I was created?
Yeah.
So I think that's why I'm shying away from weapons and why I lent into where I will get +2 or whatever, where I'm protecting somebody.
Yep.
Because I'm going to be protective and trying to push a creature back rather than just kill him off the bounce.
Cool.
Can I pose my other weird question and see if anybody has any thoughts about it? Right. So if Melody's life force is music, but she's in this place where people and all in these rules where people forget about the supernatural, does that mean that if she forgot and didn't hear any music, she'd die?
It's definitely a question to conjure with. I mean, I was sort of going to ask you a related question, which is like, we have said monsters and magic are always trying to erase themselves from people's memories, but we haven't drawn very clear lines yet about what exactly who and what that applies to, like who counts as something that people forget. So I guess it's up to you whether is Melody one of those beings, or is it just do people forget her, or do they just forget that they've noticed that she's patchwork?
The latter. They forget that doesn't fully strike them as a regular human.
Yeah, in which case that's interesting, because that means your creator has managed to create a being that is human enough that these rules do apply to her. And I think if you think this would work as well, I feel like that means that you are at risk of forgetting, which means that you need some sort of technique to stop yourself.
So this is a flippant comment that I made. It doesn't work. There's many reasons why it doesn't work. But I did think it would be hilarious if one of the ways that she remembers about all the abnormal happenings is a regular playing of the song The Monster Mash.
I mean, sense memory is a thing. People have memories associated with particular songs and particular smells and things.
She's all about her music and she's listed in there, and but it doesn't work because she's been around for centuries.
Oh yeah, but it could be there has always been a song that she uses that is talismanic, and it just happens to be that this century.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a ringtone. She's just big into it as far as everyone else can see. Yeah, right, okay. So I think I can have some fun with that, with potentially I could forget that I'm constructed and what the consequences would be. But I just can't see that coming up that much. No,
I don't think it will. I'm asking everybody, how do you stop yourself forgetting?
Yeah.
But it's not like if you roll a low roll, I'm going to say, oh, you forget everything and fall out of the story or anything like that. It's mostly just, to me, it's more of a way of explaining to the audience how these characters that we're focusing on are extraordinary, because they all have, through various different techniques or even just force of will, they are able to remember these things that everybody else forgets. And we just can take it as read throughout the series that whatever those techniques are, they are always doing them, and they won't forget in the series unless it becomes really, really narratively interesting and the player wants to.
Yeah.
Cool.
Lovely.
Yeah. Have you got a sense, like, we probably only need to narrow it down to the century, even if that, of when Melody was created?
I have her as, so when I say centuries, I think I probably only mean 1.5 or 2 centuries.
Oh, a couple of centuries old.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. So we're talking sort of, what does that take us back to? Like early 1800s sort of time at the earliest. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mainly because I don't know of anything much before that.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a gap between there and sort of ancient Rome.
Okay.
So.
And you've been in Sherrydown probably since it was a hamlet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Do you think you are known to the Department of Admissions, or they are known to you? Have you had any sort of relationship with them at any point?
So my thinking, unless you or someone else thinks this is daft, is that the department have a file on me and my creator, but I don't know what's in the file.
That's
and
cool.
I would like to see it.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. I like people coming in with like motivations and goals right from the gate.
Yeah. Strat's idea, that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, so somehow you found out that they have info that you might not have.
Yes.
Cool. Would you like to add a feature to the town?
Just my hipster shop.
Cool.
I don't think that should be the name. I'm open to suggestions for names, and it doesn't have to have always been named that.
I think you could just call it Melodies if it's a record shop and it's your shop.
Sure.
That's an idea.
I'll remember that as well, actually. So
I think I definitely like whatever it says on, even if that's not what it says on the sign, that's what all the people in town know it as.
Great.
I'm thinking about it as Melodies like IES, not Y''S.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Noted.
And then my last question, as we start the story, you're working with this community effort to keep the town safe and keep the people safe from the things that they don't remember. What made you join?
I initially only joined because I thought it was my best route to the file.
Okay. So that was it initially. What made you stay?
I don't know. Just wants to try and be a nice human. It's just not great at
it. Yeah, that's good enough. It is enough to want to be a nice human. And I think that's a nice message to take away from this.
And I think, maybe she's been more easily accepted by this ragtag group, or by some of them. I know some of these guys are going to hate me, but whatever. There's only so much you can do.
Does anybody else have any questions about Melody before we wrap up?
No, I don't think so.
No, I'm just excited to see her in action. She sounds delightful.
All right, fantastic. Well, unless you have any questions of your own, Helen?
No, that's fine.
Great, in which case you are ready to play.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. This has been Vigil, a main house production from Merely Roleplayers. It stars Ellen Gould as Jess Butterworth, Chris McLennan as Ed Kincaid, Helen Stratton as Melody, and Chris Buxey as Calisteria Softbinding. Sound design for this production is by Natalie Winter, and the theme music is by Alexander Pankhurst. I'm Matt Boothman, and I play the supporting cast, as well as editing and producing the episode. We were playing Monster of the Week, a role-playing game by Michael Sands, published by Evil Hat Productions. You can find Monster of the Week at genericgames.co.nz. Merely Roleplayers is a Foggy Outline production in association with Blackshaw Theatre Company. Until next time, if drama be the food of life, play on.